The topic that I picked for the project is about education, and it's specifically about how conservative and in that same line Republican have influenced the material that is taught to our students in Texas. So why did I deem this topic as important? Because to me, education is the foundation for the next generation, and for my project I want to specifically focus on history textbooks, which are hugely influenced by white conservative Americans who push to keep a whitewashed version of our history. And because students, especially in a country, the two pictures that I now onto the challenge for comparison, I want you to take a look. The topic that I picked for the project is about education, and it's specifically about how conservative and in that same line Republican have influenced the material that is taught to our students in Texas. So why did I deem this topic as important? Because to me, education is the foundation for the next generation, and for my project I want to specifically focus on history textbooks, which are hugely influenced by white conservative Americans who push to keep a whitewashed version of our history. And because students absorb almost everything from their textbook, it is a very easy tool to use to shape the next generation's political belief, how they interact with the world, and even how they see themselves in our country's history. Especially in a country like America, where there's 50 states and each of them can have their varied version of these textbooks. These textbooks can really reflect the different predominant political belief in each of these states. And just like this quote said, their contents sometimes diverge in a way that reflects the nation's deepest partisan divides. The two pictures that I show here are a perfect example of this. Both are talking about the Harlem Renaissance, but in the Texas textbook, it was questioned whether the quality of these art and the literature that were being put at the time were good enough. But in the California textbook, it was just questioning the changes that the movement brought about. Now onto the challenges that allow conservatives to have this much say over what material is taught to our students. So there are 15 education districts drew by the State Board of Education. However, they don't accurately represent the diverse population of our state at all. There are 10 of them who are white majority, 3 are Hispanic majority, and 2 have no majority. And each of these districts have their own member that is voted by partisan election. And because of this uneven distribution, Republicans right now make up the majority with 6 members, and Democrats only have 3 members. Another problem is the Commissioner of Education, who served 4 years and is appointed by the governor. And also, there is no limit on how many terms they can serve. Just for comparison, I want you to take a look at the 15 educational district in comparison to the congressional district result from the 2021 election and see how they line up with the Republican and Democrats voting. So here's my solution to this problem. The first is to redraw these districts to make sure that each of them are the same size and there's no gerrymandering. Second is to place a term limit on Commissioner of Education. Third is to limit the amount of lobbying to push certain agenda. Fourth is a national standard on history textbook that requires study on history through all perspective of different groups in this country. And there should be equal amount of Republican and Democrats, with 7 Republicans, 7 Democrats, and having 1 member of either party just to break the tie. There are 4 possible criticisms to this. The first being the state governor election happen every 4 years, so the new governor can always appoint new commissioner of education. There are lobbying in every public agency in America anyway, and people should vote more and more candidates should run for office. Here's my response to these criticisms. The first being that conservatives spend an unprecedented amount of money to win the election. And a lot of time during these elections, conservative candidates highlight their opposition for offering a more inclusive curriculum and opposition of teaching critical race theory in K-12 school. But reality is critical race theory is only offered at college and universities and some elite high school anyway, so there's no reason why they should be opposing it. Third, that there's a roughly equal amount of Republican and Democratic candidates running for office right now, with 14 Republicans and 11 Democrats. Here are the two Alexander questions that can possibly make me change my mind. The first is proving that textbooks are adequate national-wide. For courses such as U.S. history, I would like a proof that the change in wording and the adding or omitting information doesn't change how students understand history. And the proof that all sides of history are told with the fact that history shouldn't just be told through white Americans' perspective, but through the perspective of all the people involved in the making of this country.